Hello, this is Krystal and thank you for joining me for this week's First Chapter Friday. Today I will be reading from the beginning of Ascendant, Songs of Chaos, Book 1 by Michael R. Miller. 1. The Crag. Though he was running late, Holt spared a moment when he heard the dragon's roar. Breathing hard, he halted upon the carved servants' stairs and craned his neck to look at the beasts. The order hall of the crag dominated the skyline, a spear as sharp as the jagged rocks surrounding it, and swirling around the tower, as though a flock of birds, were the dragons themselves. A flight of pleasure and anticipation for the esteemed visitor expected that afternoon from Rider High Command. Holt grinned. There was a bounce in his step as he continued his journey down the steps and into the town. His coin-laden pouches jingled merrily as he made his way through the streets. Inside those pouches were more money than he had ever possessed. Sadly, it was not for his own spending. He had duties to help prepare for the visiting dragon rider. First on his list was to make payments for the food orders. Tonight there would be a feast, and what a feast it would be. His mouth salivated imagining it. Whole hogs of sizzling pork and haunches of beef, caramelized brown and dripping with fat. Best of all, there would be a welcoming ceremony for the visitor. All the order would be out for it, and Holt hoped to glimpse the legendary rider for himself. If he got through all his chores in time, that was. His father had promised as much. These happy thoughts brought Holt to the butcher's shop door in high spirits, so much so that he almost ran into a customer. Holt stopped himself at the last moment, stumbling sideways. He fought to steady himself and fell against the shop window. Inside, the butcher was nowhere to be seen, perhaps in the back room. Watch yourself, the customer said, barging past. Sorry, Holt stammered, breathless. He saw now that his near collision had been with the town's blacksmith, a bald, thick-set man with arms of corded muscle. Good morning, Mr. Smith, Holt said. A good morning, Mr. Smith blustered. I think not. He snorted in irritation and threw a glance back inside the butcher's shop. Thinking Mr. Smith must have suffered some wrong, Holt looked into the basket the smith held. Inside lay loosely wrapped cuts of rump beef. The portion seemed terribly small for such a large man. Mr. Smith noticed his lingering stare. Not much, is it? He said. Mr. Grocer said he might spare some cabbages, but made no promises. What would you do with them? He added, thrusting the basket under Holt's nose. He inspected the meager cuts. They would go further in a stew, but he trailed off. He doubted the man had time for slow cooking. And if the grocer was running thin on supplies as well, then it would be a poor stew at that. Hardly living up to your name, Master Cook, the blacksmith remarked, biting on Holt's surname and designated profession. Holt backed away, and the coin pouches clinked at his waist. The blacksmith narrowed his eyes at the money bags and shook his head. As if it weren't enough that I have to sell my wares to riders at cost, they take a chunk of our taxes and then buy up all the food too. It's a special day, Holtz protested. He was looking forward to the occasion, and the last thing he wanted was some anti-rider animosity bringing him down. For one man, scoffed the smith. One man? Lord Silverstrike is a legend. And will he sort out the current scourge threat single-handedly? The blacksmith's face reddened as though kissed by his forge. The king and his men have been doing a fine job. Sometimes I wonder if we even need riders anymore. Seized by the moment, Holt puffed up his chest. And if you would like to know what Holt says, Please check this title out on the Libby app. Please join me here in a couple weeks as I read from the beginning of Rachel Hawkins' The Storm. Thank you and have a great week.